Good morning and welcome back to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Obviously, I am not in Wyoming. It is cold and blustery and it's supposed to snow there today. 80s today. Yesterday was 89 degrees. But I got work to do today. So I'm going to do a walk around, show you what I got to do in the garden, and over the next week or two, you'll see the whole transformation of what it looks like when you leave it for 6 months. Your garden's in Arizona, and then you got to come back and you got to start to work. So let's get started. This is the front of the house. On the side, the right side, where we have our flower bed, and I have pulled some weeds already, but everything seems to be okay. The roses, the grapefruit tree is growing, the palm is growing. I do have to deadhead. Now these roses were about maybe 2 feet tall when we left, and they are taller than me now. And I have a pink rose, a red rose, and back behind is an iceberg white rose. But they have just grown. Now they did get water all summer long. Every 2 days I had the water sprinklers going. And many of you saw the roses last year and my popcorn bush. Now I was a little concerned because in this area these trees come up each year. There's actually plants growing everywhere. They didn't get any water. How are they growing? But these trees are taller than our trailer. So in 6 months, it started from nothing, from a seed, grew all the way up. The cannas have bloomed and bloomed, so I'm going to trim those all up so that'll stimulate them to flower again. But these trees, I'm literally going to just cut down to the ground. And back behind there are my bananas. So let's move around. I have to tell you, it's about 20 degrees cooler back in this area just because of the bananas. And you can see there's a new bunch coming up, or coming down really. And so they haven't filled out at all yet, but there's, I think 6, 7, 8 bundles. And of course I already picked a great big bundle, but the trees are about 12 feet tall this year. So much taller than last year. But it was really warm. And you can see the artichokes that I've had for 3 years. They are coming back up again. Now this is a male flower of a banana. And then you can see the bananas up above it, and it will make just rings of bananas. But the male flower is so interesting. See, there's another bundle of bananas back over there too. And so they're starting to fill out those ones right there. And here is me holding a bundle that we picked the very first day that we came. And so we have eaten them, we've given them to people. They're probably about 5 inches long. But I just keep finding bundles that I didn't see before. Now this is a little baby pup. And the thing is about bananas is they get these great big stalks, the trunk, and then it produces the banana. After that, you chop it down. So see, there's a big trunk coming over, and then it bends over because of the weight of the bananas. And when I pick that banana, that bundle of bananas, I'll chop that trunk down. And I started with just 3 banana trees. Now here's another one. You can see the male flower down there and the bananas. And here's another bundle, and they're on the other side too. They're like prolific this year. I'm just so excited about growing my own bananas. But I'm going to trim off all the dead leaves, the damaged leaves, and I'll give them a little bit of fertilizer and just let them grow and grow. Now I keep a bucket over top of the water spigot just because of the heat. This is an agave and another artichoke. 3rd year of coming back. I'm totally excited about that. Now this is my fig tree. And I already picked a whole bunch of figs. The other ones are starting to turn ripe. And in fact, that one is completely ripe. I'm picking it. I'm going to eat that. They're so delicious. The red inside, that's lemongrass. I literally had cut that down to the ground when we left. And it's about 5 feet tall. It's craziness what can grow in Arizona. This is a canna that I planted last year and has just filled out beautifully. Some hollyhocks that are starting actually from seed there, because this was the area that I had all my hollyhocks, and I'm going to actually plant some, and I will tell you about those in a little teeny bit, the history of them. But there's another one of those trees. I never had it last year, so in 6 months it has grown like that. So amazing what can grow in Arizona. Now let's go into the garden. So weed right there, I'll pull that out, and my compost bin was completely full when I left, and look at how far it's gone down there. So it gives me a lot of space to put some of the dried material. And I just put all my plants, when I pulled them up, and I put those 2x2s down, so when they dried, they didn't blow all over the place. I wanted them to want to biodegrade, and so I'll mix some of those in, and some of them will go into the compost pile. And pull the old flowers out. These are my 3 raised beds, and I put stuff in there because otherwise the feral cats will think it's a litter box, and I didn't want that. Now right here in another part of the garden, I just have coffee cans, and I had tomatoes growing, and then I have 2 areas like this, and they're covered with cardboard because of the feral cats. And I'm going to lift that all up. We'll burn the cardboard in our fire pit. And this is our newest citrus that we planted last year. This is a clementine. It doesn't have any fruit on it, though it did flower a little bit last year, but it probably just dropped the fruit because it was so young. My avocado did not survive. Dead as a doornail. So I'm going to replant that with something else there. Now, we have mulch and a liner around every one of our citrus trees. And look at this crazy grass. It's not like regular grass. It vines, and then it'll take root. So I'm going to have to spend some time pulling that all out. But this is my Ponderosa lemon tree, and it has been a good producer. But look at the size of those lemons. It is delicious, very thick rind. They're about the size of softballs. And there's probably 40 of them on that tree. I think the tree is now 3 winters we've had it, so 3 years old. Did get some sun damage, so I'm gonna take my nippers and cut all that off. This is a lime tree. My blood orange and my regular orange tree don't have any fruit on them. This Mexican lime, the limes will turn a yellowish color, and I'll pick them then. Some flowers that did not get water, but I think they're close enough to the citrus. This is a Meyer lemon, and let's go around the other side. The lemon's got a little touched by the sun. See how they've got those round spots? They're still really hard, so I think they'll be fine, and the weather is cooler now. But there's probably about 15 of the Meyer lemons, and this tree is 2 years old. We planted it last year we planted it. So it's about 2 years old, and this one has the grass too. So 2 of them are just inundated with this crazy grass that I'm going to have to figure out how to get rid of. But this is an orange tree, a navel orange. My cactuses, questionable. I think I'll give them a good soak today. That one died completely. This one started to die back, but now it's got a little pad coming up, so I think it'll be okay. And this was my crazy one from on top of the roof that I had transplanted, and it survived. Joe has trimmed those trees. They were literally to the ground, and so you couldn't even see over to my mom and dad's house. But it's coming, it'll give me a week or so, but it will really transform in the next few days. Now, this is the area that I grew those big pumpkins. And this year, I already stopped at the nursery this morning, so I'm going to put some acorn squash, butternut squash, and then some seeds. This was a bucket that was underneath the roses because my Swiss chard survived underneath the roses. And it went through the whole cycle of potatoes, and then it started again. So I'm going to fill that up with soil, and I'm going to let that grow. Surprisingly, my asparagus survived with no water at all. Now, these are the potatoes that I brought home from Wyoming, and I've been chitting them, so that means that Let me grab one. See how the eyes stay very short? They get purplish green, and then they're ready to plant. And then some sweet potatoes I'm going to plant also. Now last year, I had on my table these cactuses, but they were only about 2 inches tall. They were very tiny. They were in little tiny pots. And I took them home, put them in the greenhouse, and look at how they've grown. Now these ones are amaryllises that I cross-pollinated, and I grew them from seed, and so that'll be exciting. Now these are the hollyhocks I was talking about. They are seeds from my grandmother's farm. Now my grandmother passed away when I was in high school. And so the seeds were basically 50 years old. My dad found an envelope with them, and he gave them some of the plants. He planted them this summer. And that's a fig tree that I started from just a stick. Now this is Joe's orchid, and then some little African violets I'm going to repot. Well, thanks for walking around the gardens with me. And I think you will really be surprised at how quickly things grow here in Arizona in the wintertime. It is a perfect time to garden. I'll see you next time.